So I'd like to provide you with a brief, I would like to provide you with a brief video about a specific assignment. So if you go to the section of assignments with grading rubrics, we've already reviewed within, the first week about doing discussion boards and both your postings and replies. So the grading rubric information about discussion boards is there. So the second thing, and this is what I want to go over today, is the Opposing Viewpoints paper. This is going to be due in Learning Unit number 5. So if we click on that, you're watching the instructions right now. And then let's look at the actual grading rubric for that specific paper. And let me just bring that out a little bit. So for the Opposing Viewpoints paper, this is an assignment that's worth 100 points. So it's worth a lot of points. You can start working on it. You can submit it early if you so choose. Sometimes I prefer if you waited until closer to or actually on Learning Unit number 5. And the only reason I say that is because sometimes the information that you're learning as we go along in the next couple units is important. But working in global health, it really truly means that we're going to often encounter viewpoints that are different from our own. Some extremely different from our own. Some we feel very taken aback and judgmental. However, the ability to appreciate without that judgment viewpoints that differ from our own is really critical. And especially when we're providing culturally competent care. And really this contributes to optimal patient outcomes when we can appreciate another's viewpoint that is different from our own. We can understand it. That does not mean, especially some of the practices that we're going to see are actually harmful, physically and psychologically harmful. And unfortunately, it's especially to women and children. But yet, even these practices that are harmful, we do not have to agree with them. What we need is to develop the ability to at least understand why they persist. And if we do that, then we're going to be more likely to bring about a positive change. So we need to understand why these practices developed, why they persist in the lives of the people who have these practices, because they often can be very, very different than our own. I am not asking you to accept someone else's viewpoint as your own. I am not asking you to support practices that are harmful to health, but only to be able to discuss the why and understand the why of these opposing viewpoints. So this assignment is actually going to be graded on your ability to respectfully consider another viewpoint that may be in opposition to your own and to my practice as well. But learning about those culturally diverse practices, we're more likely to reach real positive patient outcomes while also treating others with respect and dignity. So we're going to look at a few issues that have come about and what our goal is to understand why people make certain health decisions, and it can be based on social, cultural, economic, or political factors. For this assignment, collaborative work is permitted and even encouraged, but I ask that you limit it to two. So two classmates can work together on this assignment. There will be one grade for the assignment, even if what occurs is that one person ends up doing the majority of the work. So choose your classmate wisely is what I like to say. So you're only creating a short paper. It's not lengthy, 2 to 3 page paper, but that does not include the title and reference pages. So you are going to select one of 3 harmful practices, and these practices are defined by the UNFPA's website. And they include, not include, I will change that for you, female genital mutilation, son preference, which is also considered gender biased sex selection, and child marriage. So you're going to be able to get specific information on these practices by going to the UNFPA's site and clicking on what we do, and then selecting from the What We Do tab FGM, so female genital mutilation, or son preference from the Human Rights and Gender Equality section, or child marriage from Young People section. So it's going to be self-explanatory once you do. Read the information on the harmful practice that you've selected. Then you're going to read 5 things you didn't know about practices that harm girls. You can click right on there. You are then going to select one peer-reviewed journal article from our library's databases. This has to be from our library's databases. There is, yes, a lot of good information by Googling and using, books and all kinds of things. But I want this to be a peer-reviewed journal article from our library's database. And there is a video about searching the databases, whether you're experienced or not, and also for finding a good article by limiting the dates of the publication to current. And based upon a review of the information above, so all the information that you read about in this site, the extra article about 5 things you didn't know about practices that harm girls, the peer-reviewed journal article, I want you to write a paper that is, here's the grades. Is one harmful practice chosen for this paper? Yep, 5 points. Does this paper integrate information from that UNFPA site? Yes, a little bit, no. Is the overall tone professional and respectful? Very important. Is there evidence of careful thought? Are you offering well-structured arguments? Are you looking at the peoples that this occurs with, the culture, the surroundings? Are the ideas expressed clearly and free of errors? So I'm looking at grammar, spelling, organization, of course. Does the paper provide evidence that you understand why people can make certain health decisions based on social, cultural, economic, or even political factors? And was the peer-reviewed journal article published within 5 years? And is the title page and referenced? And is the title page present per APA? So you can see this is where your APA book is coming in to be very helpful. So that's the grading rubric, that's the assignment, and then within that I have separated out those things that you need. So yes, you could click on that, what I just reviewed, and it will bring you directly, but this is another way. What is the UNFPA? So the United Nations Fund for Population Activities. So that's giving you a little bit of information about that. Here is the website that you're actually going to go. Remember I said about us, and then there were directions of how to get, for example, female genital mutilation was under was under a specific topic. Here is where we're going to find it by going over here. So it's what we do, female genital mutilation. If you're looking at the other 2 options, you might have to access that information a little bit differently. So you can see that this is just providing you with the same information that was up earlier, the 5 things you didn't know about practice that harmed girls. Here is searching the library databases, which includes a video, and here's the Dropbox for where you submit it. So thank you, and any questions, of course, let me know. Thanks.